Alright guys, back in the shed. I've got a slightly different video today. We won't be working on the Porsche, it'll be the daily. And my daily is a E55 AMG, and like most of the E55s, it has its fair share of common little issues that everyone seems to get. So I thought I'll film them and add them to the channel. Hopefully they'll help a couple of other people out. There are always some things that I notice seem to pop up on the forums a lot. Certain things that to do with like headlights, facelifts, airmatic suspension, just the common little issues. So I thought I'll just film the couple that I will be fixing on my car. Hopefully it'll help a couple others out, save you a bit of money, and a lot of them are quite easy to do if you have a few of the basic hand tools. So today, one of the common problems that you'll notice is a lot of people say that their aircon is either hot and cold on one side or the other, or the front to the back is hot or cold. That's usually caused by the little duo valve, changeover valve, heater valve, whatever you call it wherever you're from. It's a little valve that seems to rust out. It has a tiny little 12-volt motor in there. They seem to get a lot of moisture in there, and they just split apart, and then what happens is the little valve doesn't open and close, and it either just stays stuck wherever it was, either in the hot position or the cold position. So I'll be changing mine. Mine has actually developed a sort of a leak as well, and it's not very old. So the process is the same for changing it, whether or not you're just replacing it for a new one or an old one. So I'll film mine and you guys can see what goes into it. Okay, so this is my car. It's a 2004 E55. I've had it for a couple months. I did have another one in black, but I sold that to buy my Porsche. Then regretted that and decided that I needed another one. So this is it. It was a little rough around the edges, but I got it for a really good price. So far all I've done is just tinted the windows, put a set of CV3s on it, I've lowered the back a little, and I've tinted the taillights, just the inners. Now I was going to do a video on that, and if you guys want to see it, I will do one again. If you do, just let me know in the comments below. I also did my side mirrors. And another thing I was going to plan on videoing would be the interior. The previous owner I bought it off had the interior detailed. They used a very strong cleaner and they actually stripped the color on all 5 seats. So I was going to do a video on doing a leather restore as well. Next video we'll be doing headlights. These things are super yellow, so I'll be doing a video on swapping the lenses. And for now, we'll get started on getting to the valve. Now, I'm sure 90% of you know about the workshop bonnet, but for the one or two of you that don't, it makes life easy. There is a lever just there, and another one on the other side, on the arm there. Now, what you will do is you will press the lever in. And then let it go up. You have to do the right hand side first, and then pull the bonnet down a little and do the other side. Once you do that, the bonnet will go up in the vertical position. So you'll just pull your bonnet down a little so you'll see it clear. Press the button in, let it go up, let go, and it'll sit on the inside of the metal. Do the other side, just pull it down just a little bit, push it in, and the bonnet will lock in a full, pretty much straight up and down position. Now that'll allow you lots of room because you need to be able to take off all of this wiper assembly. So I'll get the camera set up for that, and then we'll get started pulling it apart. Now for most of you guys, I would say you're going to be in the States, and you guys are lucky because you have left-hand drive cars, which means you'll be working down in this section and you have a million times more room. For us unlucky people in Australia, we have to work on this side and we have to work underneath the brake master, and it's a real pain. Right, now first job you want to do is you want to undo the 2 bolts for the right wiper arm. This left bolt here for the left wiper arm, take those out. Once you've done that, disconnect the cable from the little module and then remove this rubber seal, and then there's a couple of plastic screws to remove that hold on this weather strip. Once you've got all them off, then you'll be able to get in and see underneath. So we'll get that off now. Now, once you've got the cover off, you need to remove the wiper assembly, which has 1 bolt here, 1 bolt down here, and 1 bolt over here on the edge, and there's also a plug on the motor. And pretty simple, just take the 3 off and it just lifts straight up and out. Okay, so next will just be to lift it up. Careful of your windscreen. There'll be a plug with 2 clips on the side. Like that. Squeeze it in. And okay. This is the worst part of the job. These are the heater hoses. These are the top 2 in, and then the rest are all the way down here. Now, they would have to be the worst bits of hose to get to, and the easiest way that I have found to try and get off the clips that hold the hoses on is actually to just use a bit of coat hanger and get a pair of pliers, put a really tight bend on the end, and then you should be able to hook it under here and pull up, and trust me, it'll make life so much easier. But for you guys in the States, you don't have the brake master, so you have a lot more room to get your hands down and down in there. There's also 3 hoses down there, one of which has a hose clamp. That was the most hardest and the most annoying. So next job will be to just undo all the hoses and get the unit out. Okay, so once you've pulled the valve out from down the bottom, it's actually quite easy to get to. It's the same spring clips that you just pull the hoses out, switch the old valve out, put the new valve in the exact same way, push it back down, and reassemble everything in the same way. This is a bit of a pain in the ass job. It does get a bit tricky sometimes. Just be, when you're careful, when you're just pulling on certain things, just be wary of things like clips that might have sharp edges, that might cut on hoses or anything like that. But if you just take your time and just remember how you do everything, putting everything back is a lot easier, and it's the same steps. And once you've done that, you're good to go. Okay, so once you've got your valve changed over, don't forget to plug in your connector. You don't want to put it all back together and then remember that you forgot to plug it in, and all of a sudden you realize why it doesn't work. Also, one other thing is, once you've pulled all of your hose ends off, just make sure that you clean the ends of all of the pipes. You'll find that they might be a little bit gritty or have a little bit of dirt on there, and so you just want to make sure you wipe them down with a nice clean rag, and if you want, get a little bit of Vaseline and just rub it around the O-rings inside each of the ports on the O-rings. That way you make sure you get a really good seal. and you don't get any leaks. Also, it's up to you. Sometimes these spring hose clamps are good, sometimes they're not, sometimes they're prone to leaking. It's up to you whether you or not you want to reuse it. But if it is a little bit buggered or you're a bit iffy on it, just put a hose clamp on it. Now next thing will be is to maneuver it all the way back down into its hole. Okay, once you've got it down in there, you just want to make sure that your hoses don't have any kinks and that they're all running relatively smooth. Yes, that is me breathing heavy because it is a real pain in the ass to get back in. And just make sure that every single one of your clips are on tight. Make sure nothing comes off, give everything a wobble, make sure everything's nice and tight. And then once you're happy with that, we start putting it back together. Alright, so that's all back in now. Next thing you want to do is top up your overflow. You're going to have a lot of air bubbles because you've let a lot of air into the system halfway through. So top up your overflow, run your engine and leave it with the cap off for a bit. You'll notice a few of the bubbles coming through. You can also give your radiator hoses a bit of a squeeze to get a bit of that extra air out, and then just keep an eye on it over the next couple of days. You might need to just drive it, let it sit for a little bit, take the cap off, top it up. It should self-bleed about 90% of it. If you do get stuck, obviously you're going to have to draw out the last 10%. The air pockets will obviously increase your IATs, pull timing a little, and make your car a little bit slower. But other than that, that's usually what I would normally do. So we'll run it now, we'll check it, and hopefully we'll get it all done. Alright guys, and that's it. Valves all in, I've tested it all. I ran the car for probably about 30 minutes and made sure that I didn't have any leaks, checked for some air bubbles, and bled most of the system. Next thing to do will just be to go for a drive and make sure it's all good. So that's it for now. Next video I'll be doing headlight covers. Should be a good one, and so just make sure you subscribe so you know when the next video comes out. I'll try and do a few more videos on the E-Class. Seems to be a pretty popular platform, not so much here in Australia but in the States and a few other places. So if you have any ideas of anything that you want to see done, any DIYs, or you guys have any questions, let me know and I'll get a video done of it for you. No worries, I'll see you on the next one.